Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Halifax Raiders Draft Glory franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, if you didn't catch it, we had our year 2 off season, which included the draft, and we added some pretty solid prospects into our team, and I think the team is finally starting to come together a little bit, even in the early going. As you can see, we drafted with our 3rd overall pick, Alan Lehman, and I'm very excited to see what he could do, because obviously him and Wilm should do really well together, considering these two guys are definitely our best players. So there is what Lehman is looking like. He's got great shooting, so I'm hoping that him and Wilm could score a good amount of goals, and I'm hoping also for some good growth from Ponikarovsky playing on that top line with them. We also did draft a couple other solid players like Darcy Watton, who's got low league potential as a power forward, and another power forward that I'm interested in is Rudolph Petterman, who we took in the 2nd round. He's also got pretty solid shooting. So those 3 guys, especially Watton, Petterman, and Lehman, very excited to see what they could do. But we also did draft a couple other players to fill out our roster. So Yuri Markov, the overager, not really much of anything, but still hopefully he could play decently. And then we also got McLaren and Kozhivnikov on our defensive pairing that we drafted. And we do have now ourselves a nice solid goaltender who's a 70 overall out of the draft. So hopefully he could get some good growth and also some good statistics in a way, or better statistics than the other goalies we've had in the past. And yeah, that's basically what our team is looking like going into the season. So very excited to see what this team could do. Obviously, this should be the year that we finally hit a win in a season, because we have yet to get our first win in franchise history. But anyways, before we get into simulating year 3, I do have quite a few comments to go over, so let's get into the comment mode. So the first comment is from Michael Dose, who says, "Great draft, we will win at least one next season." So he's saying that we'll win at least one game, and I think we definitely should as well, considering we just added a good piece in Lehman to our forward group. I think that should help us in terms of winning at least one game this season. If we don't win a game, then that's a little bit concerning at this rate. The next comment is from Dylan Burrows, who says, "Having a 70 overall so early will only benefit. Wish the other guys fell to us," or the other guy fell to us. So he's talking about the medium elite goaltender. But yeah, I agree. Having a 70 overall goaltender is definitely a lot better than we've had in the past first 2 years, because we were running Cameron and we were running goalie. But now Cameron's going to get some time in the AHL, and goalie will be our backup this season. So will be interesting to see if the 70 overall could actually simulate better than the 59. Obviously, that's going to be up in the air. Next comment is from Nick Bucker Barons OC, who says, "One more playmaker for that first line, and we better have a first line that's clapping." And I agree. Hopefully, there is a good playmaker we can get in this draft or future drafts for the top line to play alongside Lehman and Wilm, because obviously right now having mostly shooters on the top line, it's okay, but you want to have the kind of a setup guy as well. So hopefully we can find a good playmaker for these two. The next comment is from Dustin Wald, who says, "A cool team. I could see Wilm being close to point per game and Lehman putting up 50 points and 25 goals. I say 5 wins." So he's going big and strong, saying Lehman 50 points, so that would probably get him the Calder if that's the case. And he's also saying 5 wins. It would be nice to get 5 wins. I think it's definitely doable, considering our roster has been getting some good growth over these first 2 seasons. Next comment is from Saturn Otaku, who says, "Kind of weird that Lehman has big rig and truculence abilities, but is only 6 feet. But whatever, dude is going to be a stud who I wouldn't be surprised to see hit the 90s overall and gain franchise potential." So yeah, it is kind of strange that he has the physical attributes, but he's not that big of a guy by comparison to some power forwards. But I mean, maybe he's just he's very strong for his size in a way. So yeah, he's got like the 3.5 star physical attributes right now, but who knows how good that's going to be. Maybe he's going to have a lot of fights in his rookie season too, based on that fighting skill. Next comment is from Jonas16EIW, who says, "I agree with Saturn Otaku in his comment last video. Whenever I do franchise modes, my first player I draft is high-end power forward that my scouts say has a nice shot, because that regular gets 35 to 50 goals, and one time one of them got 73. So yeah, the sky's the limit for Lehman. Maybe he could hit 50 goals in a few years. Maybe he could get more than that. He is definitely going to develop that shooting category into being probably as good as Wilms, I would say, or even better. So we should have a potent threat with the 2 of these guys. And finally, the last comment is from Yo-Yo What's Up, who says, "I definitely agree picking up Nikitin over Walton because of EA making medium elite goalies who has low overalls be an 80 overall when they're 27-28. Glad to see it. Glad to be back. Love the goons you picked up as well. Hashtag goon squads. So, yeah, I agree, because that medium elite could have honestly just developed into being a normal starting goaltender anyways, which Nikitin probably should as well. So I think drafting obviously a higher overall goalie should only benefit us, because if we had the 48 medium elite, we'd probably run him in the AHL, which means our goaltending combination right now would probably be still Cameron and goalie, but instead it's going to be Nikitin and goalie. So there is that, and those are the comments I got in last episode, so thank you guys for that. And yeah, let's get into the season sim and see what happens, and also we'll take a look at like the draft class once we get to the end of the season, that type of thing. I did already reassign all our scouts to different leagues and stuff like that, so we have like, I think it's 2 in each of the CHL team leagues, so OHL, WHL, and the QMJHL, and then we also have, I think it was 2 in each USA region, and 2 in Russia, and then every other European one that I can do, so like Sweden, Finland has 1 scout in it, so we should get some decent scouting done, and hopefully our scouts grow this season, so that way in the next few years they're doing really, really good jobs in the region. But let's sim through the preseason, see how we do. We have not been a good preseason team in the past, so to get some points here would be interesting. Let's see. 2-4-2. Okay, making some strides a little bit, because we did have, like, I think our first preseason we didn't have a single win, and holy crap, Wilm was well over point per game in the preseason. Speaking of which, his contract is up for renewal, which means 8-year deal time. I'm already going to give it to him, because obviously he's just going to cost more and more as the years go on. Let's see if we can do the 85% trick here too. Let me open up my calculator on my phone, and we will try the 85% trick and lock him up for 8 years, because obviously having a franchise guy locked up to 28 is good, and then obviously the next contract after that point is where it's going to probably cost us an arm and a leg. So let me see if I could try and get him on an 85% deal. So I could probably get him, if my math is right here on this calculator, for 8 by 9.4, which would be a great contract to set us up for the future of this team. It's not super expensive, and he'll be definitely worth it at some point in this those 8 years. So I like that. And then the rest of these guys, ooh, man, we're already getting into the stage where these guys are going to ask for a lot. I'm going to have to probably qualify everybody else on this team, because most of these guys aren't in the long-term picture, I would say. But yeah, we're going to have an interesting offseason in year 3 when we have to actually sign some of the guys we drafted. But there is that. So the question is now, how are we going to do this regular season? There were some predictions for 5 wins. I think that's reasonable. I think we're going to probably get, I'm going to go with 8 wins. I don't know why that's the first number that came to my head. I think we could get 8 wins with the additional laymen. So let's go this entire season and see how we do. Will we get to 8 wins? Will we hit 10 wins? Hey, look at that. Will Murray signs the 8-year deal. I feel I played the amount of minutes that I deserved last year, so you did right by me in my view. So Wilm is on board for 8 years, so that's a very big deal for this team. Obviously, is the main thing. Hey, we already have an OT loss. That's as good as last season, because we only had 1 point all last year. When is our first win going to come in franchise history? That's the main question, because we should get 1 at least this season. If we get up to 8 like I'm predicting, that would be great, but so far not off to a good start. Winless in our first few games. 14-0 loss to the Dallas Stars. Oh my god. Hey, there's a shootout loss. This is our best season yet. We have at least 2 points, but we still don't have our first win in franchise history. Still looking for that. It's not great. Kind of surprised that this team is doing this bad still. Must be the goaltending or something. I feel bad for the rookie Nikitin. Hey, there's our first win in franchise history, coming against the Arizona Coyotes, who we lost to last year in overtime to get our first ever point. We win 6-4 in Arizona, and that's the first win in franchise history. It only took 2 seasons and almost another half season to get that first win. I wish I could take a look at the box score, but you can't do that in this game. Hopefully future games will have stuff like that, because I obviously would like to have known who scored goals in that game. But hey, we get our first win in franchise history. I think 8 is definitely unreasonable at this point for our team unless we have a great second half. But yeah, there's our second win against the Ducks. Hey, and another 6-4 victory. So we have 2 wins this year. 3 wins. There's one in overtime against Columbus and one against St. Louis and a shootout loss. Hey, we are going to hit 5 wins. Never mind. Our team is turning around maybe. Can we get that 5th win? Can we get that 5th win? I think 8 wins is definitely out of the question. Let's see. Come on, boys. Hey, another OT loss. That's still another point. Dallas has fired their head coach, and he has the same last name as our young prospect. Interesting. Let's see. Can we get win number 5? So that way the predictions can be kind of close. Hey, yes we can. We beat Chicago. Let's go. 5 wins on the season. Are we going to be able to get up to 8 where I was predicting? That was the first number that came to my head, but I don't think it's going to actually happen. We do have points in 10 games, though, at least this season, which is nice. So that's pretty good. Let's see. Can we get any more wins this season? Yes, we do over Carolina. Wow, that's a pretty big victory. 6 wins on the year. Can we get up to 8? I don't know why that number came to my head first, but it did. Doesn't look like it at this stage. Unless we could get 2 victories quick here. Yeah, I don't think we're going to hit 8 wins. We are going to finish with 7 wins. Okay, very close. 7-69-6 is our record. A very weird record, but we hit 7 wins this year, which is pretty nice. And we had points in 13 of our 82 games. Very big step up from last year. We finished with 20 points as opposed to only, 2 points last year? Or 1 point? I don't even remember. But let's freaking go. And as predicted also by, who was it that said that? I think it was Dustin, who said that Wilm would be close to point per game. Well, Wilm finished with 90 points on a team with only 7 wins. And that's why he was just locked up for 8 years starting next season. So that is a very successful year, it looks like. Let's take a look at the team stats here. See if we improved in anything defensively, offensively. So we know we finished dead last, but only by 52 points as opposed to whatever it was in the last few years. Goals for per game, we were definitely dead last still, but not by a large margin. So our offense is definitely starting to improve a lot. And our defense still needs a lot of work on it, but offensively we were not far off the Nashville Predators for the second worst offensive team. So that's a very big step up. In terms of goals against per game wise, definitely we still need to improve because the worst team was Columbus at 3.8. We were at 5.22. So I think it's still improving, but there's definitely a long ways to go. Power play percentage wise, we were not the worst team on the power play either. We're now like 26th, I think, in the league or something like that. 16.1% is pretty solid. So good to see the power play working. That's probably why our offense was not as bad as it was in prior years. And penalty kill percentage wise, it also improved a little bit as it finished the 3rd worst. So some improvement on the special teams. We won 5 games on home ice this year. So that's great. Our fans finally get some wins to cheer about. 2 wins on the road. 1-8 and 1 in our last 10 games at the end of the season. Let's go. I like this season a lot. Definitely a big step up. Wilm looks like he's still only a 93, but hopefully he gets some growth in the offseason. Let's take a look at these player stats here, and holy crap, I'm already seeing some good stats. So, Wilm, 90 points, only a minus 53. That's a major step up. Major step up. He was a negative 171 a few years ago. But, yeah, Wilm is getting better every single year. He had his first game-winning goal this year because, obviously, this team had won a game beforehand. But Wilm is becoming that guy. He is becoming that guy. Very happy with him, obviously. I'm glad that we were able to get him on a nice 8-year deal starting next season. But it's probably going to go pretty quickly because this team's not going to be good probably within those 8 years, my guess. Or maybe they will be by then. Sheriff had 37 points. That's not terrible. Minus 68. Yeah, that's actually a really big step up. He got some more power play time, I think, this year. That's really good. 30 assists. And he's only up to a 73. He's a low top 9. Holy crap, he got a lot of growth. I'm actually really impressed with Sherov. This guy was one of the last picks of the 2024 draft. And he's starting to develop quite well. It'd be nice if he got an X Factor, but he didn't. Aiden Stajan, 28 points, minus 77. Pretty solid still. Up to a 75. Let's go. Okay, there we go. This guy's actually going to become a legit NHLer, it seems like, at this rate. His defensive stats are pretty solid, but face-offs not so much. But still, Stajan's developing really well, and that's definitely helping us out with our depth scoring. Grabowski obviously is getting less and less ice time as the years go on, but still had 13 points. Not too bad. His plus-minus is also improving. And he's only a 60 overall now at 20 years old. Finley, 9 points in 82 games, minus 54, up to a 63. Yeah, these are the type of guys that are probably going to get replaced within a few seasons, especially after this upcoming draft, likely. So there is Finley. Then Markov in his rookie season was not very good, only 6 points, but he is a 61 at 21. Probably won't be here very long. Likely will be thrown to the AHL at some stage. Left wing wise, though, I did see, Alan Lehman, number 69, finishes with 69 points in his rookie season. Couldn't have scripted it any better. Minus 47 only. 8 goals on the power play, 18 power play points. So he definitely helped out our power play, and he had our only shorthanded goal. Alan Lehman's a beast. He didn't generate his zone ability this year yet, but he's up to an 83 overall, and I don't know if the plus-minus is going to make him miss getting the Calder, but he should get the Calder considering he had 69 points in his rookie year. And preseason-wise, he was over point per game. That's probably the Wilm effect, though, kind of. Rudolph Petterman in his rookie season was also pretty solid. 19 goals from him, almost a 20-goal season. He's up to a 66. I think he already was a 66, so he hasn't even changed, really. But still, this guy's a very solid second liner to have behind, like, Lehman. Pretty good rookie season. Aiden Rolson, 25 points. Not bad. Not bad at all. He didn't even get as much ice time this year, but he's still consistently picking up points. Yeah, he got way less ice time. 8 less minutes of ice time a game. And he was still able to pick up almost around the same amount of points. So that's pretty damn good. Obviously, a lot of them came on the power play, but still. Right wing wise, Ponikarovsky, 50 points this year playing with the 2 great players, which he probably should have anyways. He's only a 66 still, so he might not develop as much, but he's putting up points when he's getting thrown with those good players, which obviously he should, because if he doesn't, that's pretty concerning. But we'll see if he gets any more growth in this offseason. Darcy Wadden had 12 goals and only an assist, so he's definitely a pure goal scorer. Jeez. How do you only have 1 assist? 56 overall. He has not really developed much. He might not become much of an NHLer. It's tough to say, but still 12 goals. I'll take that for a rookie season. And Pitton, 9 points. Not bad. Defensively, I'm interested to see how Palin did this year. Not as good as prior years. Okay. So Paul Mayer, 34 points is pretty good. Only a 66 overall. Yeah, a lot of these guys are definitely going to need to get replaced at some stage, I'd say. Minus 79 only is not bad. Vitaly Kolesnik, 31 points, minus 107. He's up to a 79, so we got ourselves now a legit defenseman. He's improving in terms of offense and defense, so I'll take that. Tucker Palin, 29 points this year and a minus 111. Yeah, he's turning to dwindle a little bit offensively, but hey, I mean, as a guy that's medium 7th D only, and he was a second rounder, he's not been that bad. Kazivnikov, 9 points, not terrible, but he doesn't really have potential. Emelin, 8 points, not really developing much more. And McLaren, 3 points, not really developing. So I think what we need definitely is more good defensemen. We could also use some offense too, but defense is a very big priority, I think, with this team. Nikitin had an okay season. He had 4 of our wins, an 8.86 save percentage, and a 4.84 goals against. And then goalie had 3 wins this season with an 8.76 and a 5.33. Nikitin has not changed overall-wise. Goalie went up by 1. Any assists for these 2? Yes, Nikitin picked up an assist this season. That's pretty impressive. That is pretty damn impressive. Okay. Let's take a look at stats around the league briefly. See where our guys finished. So, entire league-wise, William Nylander led the league in points with 114. Most goals this season was Fechnikov with 53. A couple other 50-goal scorers, though. So there is that. In terms of Selke candidates, not that this really matters too much, but let's take a look anyways. Hey! Oh my goodness, we might have a guy that actually can win Selkies as a sniper. Mauricio Wilm won 53.9% of his faceoffs, with the most takeaways in the league. But you have Lindholm, who's 0.1% better on the faceoffs, less takeaways. Is Wilm going to win the Selke this year? Or is he going to give it to somebody else? Like, are they going to give it to Crosby because Crosby was 58% on the faceoff dot, but he had 20 less takeaways? If Mauricio Wilm wins a Selke, I would be pretty impressed, considering this guy is literally a sniper, but he's great defensively and he's winning faceoffs. Wow. Was not expecting that. Best defenseman this season, Cale Makar with 104 points. Adam Fox behind him with 100. So there's that. Best goalie this season in terms of wins was Demko. Save percentage-wise by a starter was Vanacek with a 923. Pretty good. And goals against average by a starter was Vanacek as well. So Vanacek likely wins the Vezina. And the best rookie this year was not Lehman. It was the franchise guy who went first overall, Boris Morozov. Yeah, Morozov's going to win the Calder. That sucks. That sucks a lot. I was thinking Lehman would have won it, but the Lehman finishes second best in rookie points, above like Atu Ratu and Leo Carlson. But yeah, since Morozov is a franchise guy, he ends up having a better season. And that plus minus is much better too. But still, Lehman is definitely a rookie of the year candidate. At least he would have finished like as a finalist for the rookie of the year. So there is that. Let's simulate up to the end of the playoffs, see who ends up winning the Stanley Cup in the 2026 season. We'll also take a look at where we're drafting this year, all that stuff. So there's still a little bit of stuff to do in this episode. But hopefully we got a good read on the draft class. That's the most important thing now at this stage, because obviously we want to be able to draft some more good prospects this offseason. And hopefully we get the draft lottery win. That would be great. Instead, Arizona made the playoffs, so they went from having the first overall pick last year to being a playoff team as New Jersey wins the Stanley Cup in 2026. Not really unrealistic, I'd say, like the first two winners. Well, the Leafs actually won, so that was kind of realistic in a way, but not realistic too. Let's take a look at that playoff tree. So, who did New Jersey beat? The Winnipeg Jets in 5 games. Okay. Let's take a look at both the Jets and the Devils, because I know you guys are going to ask about this. So might as well start doing this every year where we look at the cup winning team and the team that was up in the finals. So this is the Devils. Pretty similar roster to what they currently have, except for they brought in Colton Sissons and Jake Evans. They also brought in Mangiapane from Calgary. Geez, that's a great addition. Evander Kane from Edmonton. JVR. That's actually really cool to see JVR sign there, because I'm pretty sure he's from like Voorhees, New Jersey. So that's really neat. Meyer, Holtz, Mercer still there. Dougie Hamilton, Luke Hughes. Jesus, this is a good team. Calvin DeHaan was added, and they also still have the same goaltending. So in general, this team was really good. Like the depth scoring, I could see why they won the Stanley Cup. What about the Jets? What were they looking like in the Cup final? Let's see. They brought in Tyson Jost. Let's see. Tara Vinen was also brought in from Carolina. That's a pretty good addition. Victor Arvidsson was brought in. Didn't he win a Stanley Cup already in this series? Yeah, he's already won 2 Stanley Cups in this series because he won with Anaheim in year 1. So shout out to Victor Arvidsson, who's now a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. And Jesper Foss was also brought in. Defensively, Shane Gostisbehere was brought in. And goalie-wise, Nico Daws was brought in from the Devils. Oh, man, that's funny. So Nico Daws literally goes from playing for the Devils to losing to them in the Stanley Cup Finals. Oof. So there is the 2 Cup finalist teams. Let's take a look at those awards now and wrap up this season. So, yeah, New Jersey winning Stanley Cup, Colorado winning the Presidents, and Winnipeg, New Jersey Finals. Individual award-wise, Nylander won the Art Ross. Last year was Matthews, so Toronto's got a lot of talent on it still. Connor McDavid the Hart. Norris going to Cale Makar, the breakup Carlson streak. The Bing going to Braden Point. Atu Ratu won the Calder. What the heck? Why did he win the Calder? Just because he had a better plus minus than the franchise guy? That does not make sense in my opinion. That probably should go to the Arizona Coyotes guy. But Lehman definitely would have been, like, I guess, third place in rookie votes. Jack Hughes won the Conn Smythe for New Jersey. Vanacek the Vezina, as we were kind of expecting with Vanacek. He also won the Jennings, him and Akira Schmid. Kolesnik won the Masterton this year. So that's the third straight year we've had a defenseman winning the Masterton. The Jack Adams going to Anaheim's head coach. Barkov won the Selke this year, damn. I was hoping Wilm would have won it, but unfortunately Barkov does because his face-off percentage was probably like 5% better. McDavid wins to Lindsay, and Svechnikov the Richard. So only one award winner for our NHL team, as we normally do. And then there's also an AHL guy that won an award again. So there is the awards. Okay, now the big question is, where are we drafting this year, and what is the draft class looking like? Because this draft class, hopefully it's something that we actually need that's first. And we fall from 1 to 3 for the third straight year. We've had bad luck with this draft lottery after winning it in our first year where we took the franchise Wilm. But Dallas moves from 4 to 1, St. Louis from 3 to 2. We fall from 1 to 3. And then you have Columbus and Nashville. When are we going to win the lottery next? It's so hard to win it seems like. But retirement-wise, Brad Marchand, Joe Pavelski, some of the big guys that were drafted back in 03. Just in case you guys wanted to look at that. There you go. Okay, so the question is, what is the draft class looking like? Is it a class that we're going to be able to find some good players in? We're going to have to do some draft interviews here in this episode too. Okay. I know you guys say a top line playmaker. We could take McKenna potentially as that guy, or there's this playmaker who's I don't know if he's a real player or not. He might be generated, but he's a playmaker as well. Let's take a look at all these guys anyways. So the first overall pick this year apparently is Tommy Tselios. So he looks like this. Looks like Timo Solani. Pretty solid player. Then there's a defenseman in Antti Unila, who's a two-way defender. Like Victor Hedman, apparently. And then there's Sterling, who we could take. He's a two-way forward. Don't know how good his passing is, but he's apparently like Patrick Kane, and if Patrick Kane is good at anything, it's passing. So Sterling honestly could be a good player for that top line if we want to solidify our top line. Because imagine having a top line of Wilm, Sterling, and Lehman. We keep Wilm at center. We play Sterling as like a right winger. And then we play, obviously, Lehman still on the left side. Or we could flip the two of them. I do like Sterling a decent amount for being a two-way forward. He's got good shooting, good puck skills, good senses. His skating is a little bit weaker, same with his physical. And his defense is good. He already has all alone for sure. That's a pretty good player. But then you also have Gavin McKenna, who would be that playmaker for our top line. Now, he is a real player, which I honestly, like I said, don't like real players. He's also similar to Patrick Kane, though. So, technically, these guys both are probably good passers, my guess. And if we're looking at them at a comparison standpoint, actually, McKenna might be better. Maybe not, actually, because he's got 2 Bs. He's got also 2 A+, though, but Sterling has 1 A+ and no Bs. Tough to tell who would actually be the better of the two. There's also Sabota. Looks like this, no similar player type. He's a two-way forward as well. You also have Liam Ahonen, who's a playmaker. Looks pretty good also, 2 A+ stats. Also like Patrick Kane. Ooh, has third eye. Having him down the middle and then moving Wilm to the wing would be a good thing. But the thing is, if we want Wilm to win his Selke, he has to be a center. So I would say it's probably between these 3 for the pick. There's also some other guys too, but yeah, I'm not going to take another sniper right now. So I think it's probably between the 3 of those guys for our first pick. The question is for later rounds now. What are we able to get in these late rounds? Is there going to be any steals for our team, potentially, that I could interview? That guy looks like he's going to be probably top 4. Tough to tell. 4 years out. Trying to see if there's any good steals here. Keaton Reeves. I thought that's a Keanu Reeves at first. I was going to be like, damn, are we playing Cyberpunk or something? Like, goddamn. No guaranteed other medium elites. Is there any guaranteed low elites again? Because we could always use more low elites. Uriel Calder looks pretty solid. I don't know if he's low elite for sure, but he would be a good second round option. Brendan Wolniski also might be a solid player. Probably not as good. Probably a further out low elite. That's why he's supposed to go so much later in the draft. Davies, Doesn't look like it's going to be the best draft class, to be honest. Which is not great, but we still should be able to get ourselves a pretty good player. Hey, Michael Porter, not as any basketball player. This guy is really good, but he's supposed to go 10th. Damn, I thought he was going to go second round. There's some guaranteed medium 6s that are supposed to go in round 2, like Miles Dixon, if we want to get ourselves a guy that might be a grinder. I'll pin him in case. Zharkov might be decent as well for a second rounder. I want to take a look at the goalie prospects as well. Is there any good goalies in this draft? Hey, there's a guaranteed medium starter. Not that we really need more goalies in a sense, but if we did, there is Whitmore, and he's projected to be the best goalie in the draft. So there is not going to be an elite goalie this year, it looks like, but that's okay. So, yeah, I think it's definitely between the 3 of these guys. I think you guys are going to somehow say Gavin McKenna, but I honestly would maybe think about Ahonen more, or Sterling, in a way. Really tough to say. Because I think Sterling probably, even though he's a two-way forward, might be a really good passer, based on the Patrick Kane comparison. And then Ahonen's also like Patrick Kane. McKenna's like Patrick Kane, and they're both playmakers. So Sterling could be a very solid playmaker too. I should actually interview Sterling, even though we have full read on him. I do want to know what his greatest strength is. See if it's his passing or what. Considering that Patrick Kane comparison. Let's see, what is his greatest strength? His skating. Okay, so he's a good skater. That's actually pretty nice. What's his weakness, though? Gears on that front. He's more of a skilled player, so his physicality might not be there. Not a surprise. Don't know why I'm interviewing him anyways, but still. Yeah, I think that's almost it. Let's see. Let's just go with play style. Even though I know he's a two-way forward already. Yeah, there you go. I feel like Sterling would be a great player for this team. And the fact that he can play both wings also kind of makes it a little bit nicer than having McKenna, because McKenna is only locked into left wing / center. But Sterling could play on both sides. Which we kind of need a guy on the right side, in a way. Do we know everything about Ahonen? Yeah, looks like we do. Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else that's worth interviewing. Let me see. Maybe I'll interview Zharkov. Maybe I'll interview Zharkov and Wolniski here. So that way we could get a little bit of a read for later rounds. Let me just see. Let's find out his readiness. That's the most important thing here. How far are you out, Zharkov? A few seasons, so maybe like 3 years. Play style. He's a good passer. Okay. That's a good thing to have. So if we want to have another good playmaker, he might be that type of guy. Okay, that's all I really want to know from him. Okay, so playmaker, that's 3 years out. So yeah, he's definitely probably going to be a top 6. And then let's also interview Wolniski as our last interviewee, because why not? Let's find about his readiness and his type of play. Just want to know on these guys for sure. He has a lot of learning to do, so he's probably like 5 years out as a low elite. What does he play like? He's a shooter. Okay, so he's a sniper. Okay, that's all I think I really need to know about him. Let's actually just go to his skills as well, try and get a little bit more confirmed on him as much as possible. What's his greatest strength? It's his shot. Okay, so he's definitely a sniper. Definitely a sniper for sure. Let's see. Yeah, sniper, that's 5+ years out. So he's going to be definitely a low overall for a lowly, but he might be a good steal. Yeah, might be a good steal there. So there is the draft class. And I think that's almost it. I want to take a look at progress reports briefly and then also show you guys the contract situation right now. But in terms, oh my god. Holy crap, let's go. Let's go. We are developing really quickly. Staging is up to an 80. A lot of natural growth, some statistical, but Aiden Staging is now listed as a depth forward. Love to see it. Sherov's also up to a 76 as a low top 9. I don't know why this guy's developing this good, but he is. A lot of statistical growth, but also natural with him. That's great. Layman is up to an 87 after one season. Jeez. He's already listed as a second liner. Almost all statistical growth, though, with him. I don't know why. Because it should be all natural since he's a rookie. Rocky Grabowski's jumped up a lot of points as well. Kolesnik's an 83, and we're getting some really good growth from some of these guys. Bonakrosky is 69, same with Mayer. Finley's a 64. Rolison looks like he's getting statistical a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of statistical growth. Markov up to a 63. Pitten 62. Wilma 95. A lot of it's statistical though. So he's probably still like a 93, but he is getting some natural growth on his face-offs after that year, which is good. That is good for sure. Palin's still growing. Nikitin up to a 71. Petterman up to a 68. We are definitely getting good growth. Anybody in the minors? Wadden up to a 57. Kind of slowly growing. Because Hivznikov is growing a little bit too. Yeah, this is a very exciting team. And how did Dave Cameron do in the AHL actually? Because he was the only guy in the minors. A 908 save percentage. That's actually really good considering he only had 3 wins in the AHL. Wow. So shout out to Dave Cameron, who is looking pretty solid. And it's still between him and goalie on who we actually want to use as a backup next year. So there is all that. Final thing, contract situation. Obviously the RFAs will probably have to end up qualifying because they will probably demand too much money. But guys like Emelin, for example, hey, he only wants a 2-way deal. Never mind. Maybe they actually fix this. Palin's still trying to get 2.6, so obviously he's going to come down in price a lot. But our roster's starting to come together. I'm liking this a lot. Like, we might not have the best, flashiest roster on paper, but we have now 4 guys that are 80 overall. And Sharov, who's been a really good development. Really good. Like, he might honestly change from a low top 9 to like a medium 9 or something instead at this rate. Or he might cap out as a 76 overall. Who knows? But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Halifax Raiders Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will have the entire year 3 offseason. Obviously, we'll look to add some more good prospects to our team. And hope that our team could even take another step next season, considering we just won 7 games. I think next season we could easily get into the double digits, like 10+ wins. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.